Lawrence Page was born in East Lansing, Michigan in 1973. His father was a respected computer scientist, and his mother taught computer programming. From the very beginning, Larry was surrounded by technology. Their house wasn't just a home, it was a lab filled with computers, tech magazines, and conversations about science. Even as a child, Larry wasn't like other kids. He was curious, quiet, and deeply thoughtful. At just 6 years old, he was reading biographies of famous inventors and thinking about how he could one day create something that would impact the world. While others were outside playing, Larry was inside taking apart printers and learning how machines worked. Growing up, he was often misunderstood. He wasn't the most social, and he didn't care much about fitting in. But what he lacked in popularity, he made up for in raw vision and curiosity. After finishing his undergraduate studies in computer engineering at the University of Michigan, Larry decided to pursue a PhD at Stanford University. It was there, in the mid-1990s, that everything began to change. Larry had a strange idea one night. What if you could download the entire internet and analyze the links between websites to determine which pages were most important? It sounded impossible, even ridiculous, but the idea stuck with him. He shared this thought with another PhD student, Sergey Brin. At first, they didn't get along, but over time, they realized they shared the same fascination with big ideas and solving impossible problems. Together, they began working on a new kind of search engine. Unlike existing search engines that focused on keyword frequency, their system ranked websites based on how many other sites linked to them. The more links, the more important a page seemed. They called their algorithm PageRank, partly named after Larry himself. At first, they named their project Backrub. Later, they renamed it Google, a play on the word Google, which refers to a 1 followed by 100 zeros. It was symbolic of their mission to organize an unimaginably vast amount of information. But having a brilliant idea wasn't enough. Larry and Sergey needed funding, support, and a platform. They pitched their idea to major companies and venture capitalists, Yahoo, Excite, Alta Vista, but were rejected over and over. The common response was, "Search isn't a business, it's just a feature." Out of money and options, they borrowed $100,000 from a Stanford professor and started building Google out of a friend's garage. That friend was Susan Wojcicki, who later became the CEO of YouTube. Working day and night, often with barely any sleep, they refined their product, slowly gaining a small but loyal user base. As more and more people started using Google, word spread. Its clean design and shockingly accurate results made it stand out in an internet full of cluttered, slow search engines. In 1998, Google Inc. was officially founded. The growth was fast. Too fast at times. Larry was only 25 and suddenly leading a company that was expanding beyond anyone's expectations. He was brilliant, but not experienced. Investors and board members questioned whether he had what it took to lead. Eventually, they brought in Eric Schmidt to serve as CEO, placing Larry and Sergey in more technical roles. It wasn't easy for Larry. Being told he wasn't ready stung, but he didn't argue. He watched. He learned. And over the next decade, he helped Google evolve from a search engine into a global powerhouse. Google expanded into email with Gmail, into navigation with Maps, into mobile operating systems with Android, and acquired YouTube, turning it into the world's largest video platform. Larry wasn't always front and center, but his fingerprints were on everything. In 2011, Larry Page returned as CEO. He was more mature, more confident, and more focused. He pushed the company to think bigger, launching ambitious projects through a new division called Google X. Self-driving cars, delivery drones, smart contact lenses, and AI research were no longer side ideas. They were part of Google's future. But Larry's biggest move came in 2015. He restructured the entire company, turning Google into a subsidiary of a new parent company, Alphabet Inc. The goal was to allow different teams to work independently on moonshot ideas Without being tied down by Google's core business, Larry believed that technology should not just solve problems. It should improve life on a massive scale. That belief drove everything he did. Despite being one of the richest people in the world, Larry Page remains incredibly private. He doesn't chase the spotlight. He rarely gives interviews. Instead, he focuses on invention, innovation, and impact. Larry once said, "You don't need to have a 100-person company to develop that idea." And he proved it. Google didn't start with an empire. It started with two curious minds, a garage, and an idea that the internet could be better. His journey wasn't easy. He faced rejection, doubt, and enormous pressure. But Larry never lost sight of what truly mattered: using technology to solve big problems and create a better world. Larry Page didn't just help build a company. He helped reshape how we access knowledge, how we communicate, and how we think about the future. And it all started with a boy who wanted to invent something that mattered.